Hello, friends and fellow moms, and welcome to our 11th episode of Moms on the Air. I'm your host, Katie Mahon, and today I'm not joined by my co host and soon to be 1 year old daughter, Maddie Mahon. She's actually right now, and for anybody who knows, we never wake a sleeping baby up from a nap. But today, I'm so excited that we're going to be joined by Michelle Fleischer of Embroidery Babes to discuss her infertility IVF journey and how it led her to start Embroidery Babes. So, Michelle, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so I think let's just dive right into it. And, for you, Michelle, what were some of the key challenges you faced during your infertility journey and IVF treatment? I'm just going to start off heavy.
Sure, sure. So to kind of back up a little bit, so I have two children. My first, it took us like a few months to have him. I think it took maybe 7 or 8 months of trying, and I was on the younger side. I was about 26 at the time. Um, my parents actually struggled with infertility, totally unrelated,
Mm.
but it took them like 6 or 7 years to get pregnant. So it was something in my mind that I always wanted to try earlier. And so we had my son. It was a healthy pregnancy. Everything was fine. We had wanted to space our kids out like about 4 years apart. So we waited. We enjoyed having him and didn't really think too much about the next step. We decided we were going to start trying when he turned 3. I got pregnant the first month and I couldn't believe it because I was like, that was easy. Like, that's great. Um, 8 weeks later, 2 appointments in, after hearing the heartbeat and everything, we didn't hear anything,
Oh,
and ended
no.
up having a DNC, and I was devastated. I never felt that kind of grief before. Even though, people say it's only 8 weeks or whatever, but it's just, I couldn't eat. I was totally, totally depressed. And everyone kept telling me, oh, like even my doctor would say to me, oh, you had a full term pregnancy, everything, you're going to get pregnant. You're going to get pregnant. Like, people get pregnant really fast after a miscarriage. Da, da, da. I didn't really know many people who had experienced miscarriages. So
Yeah.
it felt like a little isolated. So we started trying again, month after month after month, negative tests. I'm a planner. I'm a type A personality. I took the ovulation tests. I did everything. My life was consumed by trying to get pregnant again. Watching, my son was 3 at the time, so we were in a preschool setting and seeing all the other moms with their growing bellies and mine not, and just month
Yeah.
after month having my period. And I was so devastated. And we were going to start doing some fertility treatments. And actually had an issue with a bad hospital experience. They ended up traumatizing my cervix. I'm not even
Oh,
sure
my
what happened. It was
goodness.
such a mess. It was like February 2020. They told me I had to wait 6 more weeks to do it again. Of course, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then it was another 6 more months of trying. And I think it was like a year mark of the miscarriage. I decided to go make a fertility appointment. And I actually felt instantly better once we did that because as a planner, I felt like, we were doing something.
Yeah.
And they said like we're going to get you pregnant, like there wasn't anything specific that they could see as the main cause, which was also kind of challenging because
You
you
just
want to
don't
know,
know.
yeah, you want to know why. And there was really no exact reason. But luckily, we did RMA in Englewood. Um, it was not ideal during COVID with an N95 and a shield. There's actually a picture of me on my Instagram of my first appointment for blood work. And I also have terrible veins, so they'd have to prick me like 5 times every time. And
Yeah.
yeah, I had like literally the shield, the N95 at 7 a.m. waiting in line. And I joked with my husband, I'm like, well, at least I have somewhere to go, during COVID. And,
No, sure.
you know, um, but it was definitely a super, super stressful time. I'm going
No,
through that.
I can only imagine about that. Like I know this is the first time we've connected. I actually worked at a fertility company many, many years ago with, and I'm vaguely familiar. Obviously, I haven't been a patient, but like what the process is like. So I can only imagine what it was like, during COVID with that amount of stress and
Mhm.
just times. 50 to say the least.
Yeah, because they would have to do COVID tests before every step. So, like, before you had your, egg retrieval, your transfer. So there was always the back of your mind too, like, what if I've gone through all of this and I'm COVID positive and now I have to start all over again? So that was, not ideal. I was like, my whole family, I was like, you can't go anywhere. Like, we have to make sure that
Yeah.
we stay safe. Yeah.
So how did that experience for you inspire you to start or create Embroidery Babes?
Sure. So I've always been creative. I actually went to school for business and I have a retail background, but I always just, like to, some people work out to relieve stress. Like I love that they could do that, but like to me that just doesn't work for me. Like I like to draw. I like to get my hands dirty. I like to be moving.
Yeah.
And obviously during COVID, there wasn't opportunities to really like go out and do things. And going through COVID, going through IVF, I was pretty much losing my mind. So I don't know how. I just decided I'm like, let me try something new. So I ordered a embroidery kit, and this is actually the one that I made. This is a rainbow, and it was like a therapeutic thing to symbolize my miscarriage and my hope for a rainbow baby. So I just did that, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I love this!" And like, I just love like moving my hands, and like it was a
Hmm.
creative outlet for me. And then I was like learning different stitches, literally learning through YouTube and trial and error, and it was really fun. And I kind of just became addicted to it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I did those sewing when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I think it was called Stitch Fix or something with the stitch
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
and actually during COVID, I did try to get back into that, but or no, it's with the latch hook. That's what it was, the
Oh
latch hook.
yeah. Yeah. There's lots of
That
different things that you can get into and become obsessed with.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that gardening was my
Mm,
COVID hobby that just kind of took off, but
yeah.
no, that's awesome. And for you, what were some of the ways that embroidery became, a source of hope and healing for you during your time of like obviously dealing with COVID, going through IVF and infertility?
Yeah, so like making something like this, like taking my feelings and putting it in a creative space. When I was fortunate, after one round of IVF, we did get pregnant with my daughter. And while I was pregnant with her, I was actually I have three different hoops that I made, that's displayed in her nursery. And actually can't really call it a nursery anymore. Her old nursery.
Big girl
But
room.
yeah, big girl room, exactly. So I have one that says like, "I'm so lucky to have you," and then it's like a
Hmm.
bouquet of roses just, like, for her birth. So, um, I forget what was the question again?
No, so for you, how did embroidery become, your way of of hope and healing for
Oh,
you
yes.
during this
So
time?
that definitely helped, and it's something that I look at almost on a daily basis in her room as just like, "This is where I've been through, and this is where I am now." Once she did get once she was born, I decided to start moving away from hoops and embroidering on clothes. So I have a son. So what I would do is take some of his old boy clothes and
Mm-hmm.
upcycle it, to make it girly and put her name on it, put little flowers, kind of decorate it. And people started to be
That's awesome.
yeah, so people were like, "Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, I made that. Like, you like this? Like, this is cool." So I was like, "You know what? Let me make an Instagram. Why not?" And start posting some of the things that I've made for my family and me and whatnot. And then, people I knew at first started to order. And I was like, "Oh my God," like I didn't even tell my husband about it. I'm like, "I got an order." And he's like, "Order for what?" And I was like, "Embroidery babes, like where was I was like, I don't know. Like I'm just like a doer." So I was like, "You know what? Let me see what happens." And then I was asked to do an event, and I worked like a million hours to get all these samples together. And I'm just like, I'm such like if I get into something, it's just crazy. So I was doing that, and then since then I've just been working my butt off essentially, and it'll be a year in August, when I started this. So
What's the coolest thing you've made in the past year?
oh, that's a really good question. Oh my goodness, the coolest thing I've made. I know what it is. So my son just turned 7, and he is obsessed with music, and he's particularly obsessed with the Beatles. And he knows every every song, what year it came out, who
He's
sings
got good
it.
taste.
He's amazing taste. He thankfully we don't have to listen to like Wheels on the Bus all the time. But yeah,
I'm
he
in the
loves classic
Coco
rock.
Melon baby shark phase right now, so
Yeah,
I'm excited
yeah.
to get to that next phase.
So the good thing is my 2-year-old loves the Beatles also because she wants to do everything he does. So he had a Beatles themed birthday and I made him, which I posted on my Instagram, a sweatshirt that has all patches, all you need is love and yellow submarine and like I put X's all
Oh,
over the place and it's like such a cool sweatshirt and it's
that's
my
awesome.
favorite thing I ever made and he was like, "Oh my God, you made that for me." Like he's so proud of me and it just like warms my heart. Like I mean, yeah, complains. He's like, "Mommy, you're so busy all the time." But he's like really also proud of me like when he comes to my events and he sees kids in his school wearing embroidery babes. He's like, "Mommy, I saw your hat today." And like he
That's
gets
so
really happy for
cool.
me. Yeah.
And kind of, adding on to that, how, since you started this a year ago, how has Embroidery Babes evolved and grown since its inception?
Yeah, I mean, I first kind of started with like denim jackets, sweatshirts. It's evolved a lot. I'm always trying new things. I do mostly personalization. So I like one of like I have like basically like three really important pillars of Embroidery Babes, and the first is like amazing customer service. A lot of my orders come from online, people I've never met, and making sure I'm communicating with them, sending pictures of the stages along the way, really customized product for them, and the follow up and all of that. I've had an amazing retention rate of customers coming back over this past year, which has been awesome. So that's really important to me. And then the second, which if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see in my stories a lot, I post about other small businesses owned by women
Hmm.
and particularly local women or local businesses. So I really like to also help people out. Like I met someone at an event this weekend who does interior design and she's starting up to, we're all hustling. And I'm like, let me share your page. And, I just bought a bag from another small business friend. So sharing that and, always, paying it forward. And I think, we all get so consumed by the ease of buying gifts on at Target and Amazon,
Hmm.
but people do love to support local and also having that like high quality personalized product. So that's my second thing is like support local, support women. And then my third thing is sharing my story like I'm doing right now about IVF because when I went through IVF, I didn't know anyone who had been through it. And I felt super isolated. Every one of my friends were getting pregnant and easily. And I just couldn't handle it. And I made a promise to myself, even before I started Embroidery Babes, when I have this baby, I'm going to be super open in my birth announcement that this is what happened. And this wasn't an easy journey. This wasn't like, oh, we tried and that happened. Like life is messy, life is imperfect.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going on my Instagram and being like, look at my beautiful children, look at everything. Like, this takes me no time to make. I don't make mistakes. Like, that's not who I am, and that's not the reality of things. And like I made this post like I'm clumsy, like I'm a hot mess, like my house is full of thread. I leave needles everywhere. I try to be the best mom I can be. I started crying at my son's writing celebration today, and now I'm back doing this. Like I'm trying to do everything. And it's honest and open to feel like you're struggling sometimes and there are
Sure.
many days where I'm like, why am I doing this? This is so much work and like I could just get a regular job and make so much more money, but like I'm fulfilled in other ways and just sharing that and inspiring other women who may want to do something similar.
Yeah, and obviously, Embroidery Babes was a source of hope and healing for you with dealing with infertility. And has Embroidery Babes been that at all for anybody else that dealing with fertility struggles?
Yes, actually, I've had several people reach out to me on Instagram who I've never met. One woman said she just had a miscarriage, and she said, I did a reel about my miscarriage story, and she said
Hmm.
that made me feel so much less alone. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I said, like, if you ever want to pick up the phone and have a call with me, I once spoke to somebody just, I never met her, but she wanted to share her IVF story, and we ended up finding out we had the same doctor.
Oh,
for
wow.
IVF. Yeah.
Small world.
So, I just loved connecting with people and whatever I could do to help make them feel less alone, then I'm here for it.
And what advice or words of encouragement do you have for, individuals, women couples going through infertility or considering IVF as they navigate through their own journeys?
I mean, it's really hard. I mean, it's not a fun thing to do. When I was going through IVF, my husband, of course, had the busiest time of work he's ever had, and I would only see him when he would come and give me the injections once a day. Like he would come
Yeah,
downstairs at 10 o'clock at night and do that, and it was a really hard time for us. But I would say my best words of advice is to just keep connecting with each other, keep checking in, because even though I'm the one who's getting all the injections, I'm the one who has to go to every appointment. During COVID, he couldn't even come to any of the appointments, any of the transfers, anything like that.
yeah,
So understanding, being empathetic to the other person's role and not feeling like I'm going through more than they are or whatnot. Everyone's going through different aspects of it. And it's hard. It's really hard. So just try to just communicate and, now with COVID not over, if you're going through IVF, like go on date nights, like try to get away a little bit, like try to go have fun. I remember reading that in a blog for IVF, like go to the movies, go to the mall. And I'm like, we can't do anything right now. Like, what are we supposed to do? But yeah, definitely like try to have fun, try to at your best for it to not consume you and, just stay present with your partner, I would say.
no, that's great advice. And how can people stay up to date? What's the best way to stay up to date with Embroidery Babes?
Sure. So actually, I forgot to mention something that I'm doing now when you said evolving is I am now offering stitch and sip workshops. So previously, I was just making stuff for you, but I actually have a background in corporate training. And I was like, why don't I teach people how to do this too?
That's great.
So, yeah. So, like, um, we are having our first workshop tomorrow, and that's at Yellow Door Art Studio in Westwood, New Jersey. So I'm super excited. That's also a woman-owned business. They opened about 6 months ago, and
Hmm.
she and Lauren is super cool. And then I'm also offering these workshops where basically it's like an upcycle class. You can bring your clothes or your kids' clothes, and I'll show you how to do stitches like hearts and write mama, things like that on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and it comes with a cute kit, and I was actually just finishing them before I went on here. So we're working on that, and if you want to reach out to me, the best ways, I'm usually on Instagram. So if you want to tag me in this to help people find me, and you could always DM me. I also have a website, embroiderybabes.com, or you can email me at embroiderybabes@gmail.com. But I'm kind
That's
of all over the place,
that
and like I
sounds like
do,
the
yeah.
best time ever. Stitch and
Yeah,
sip.
so it's like a ladies' night. We have, I think, 13 people coming, which is really exciting. My best friend is helping me, and she's been also another tip is like find really supportive friends who are
Hmm.
always there to help you and will be honest with you when they're like, like whatever, or like this is great, and um, also the small business women community is like amazing, and I've been really fortunate to meet a lot of awesome people. So if you want to go to that, and I'm always doing pop-ups in the area. And then I'm also doing home parties. So if you have like a organization, like at a temple that you want me to come and do a stitch and sip for, or if you just want to do one for like a birthday party in a house, you could just reach out to me and I can talk to you about, pricing, the amount of people and all that.
No, that sounds amazing. And yeah, no, I am a big fan of paint and sip
Mm-hmm.
parties. I used to go to Pino's Palais all the time before they sadly closed around here. I think there's
Yeah.
one in Ridgewood still open, and I miss it very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I mean, this is cool because it's wearable art. So you can
No,
leave with
absolutely.
it and you can wear it again. And then it's cool. I had a customer from a previous Stitch and Sip send me a picture yesterday of her on her couch stitching something else for her daughter. And she's like, thank you for inspiring me and teaching me something new. So it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I myself, I'm excited to learn more about it. But I just want to thank you, Michelle, for your time today, sharing your story with us. Being so open about your IVF journey, and as well as the story of Embroidery Babes. That really is inspiring. And I wish you the best. I hope you join us for a future episode.
Thank you so much, Katie. I was happy to be here.
And for our listeners, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you join us next week. And be sure to follow our official Instagram account at Moms on the Air, where we'll reveal our next guest. Thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star rating. Until next time, I'm Katie, and this is the Moms on the Air podcast.
Thank you.